Hello everyone, this is Kavita and I am back with my new video. So this time we are going to cover chapter number 1 of civics, that is the Indian Constitution. Now we are going to learn about the Indian Constitution and its major feature. Now what actually the Constitution of India and the Preamble of India means. So let's have a look towards the Preamble, which is also known as the key to our Indian Constitution and which says that we the people of India having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact and to give ourselves this Constitution. So, this is basically a preamble of India, and the last line which says that this 26th day of November means that we have completed a constitution on this very particular date, and it was all prepared and enacted by this date. But due to some of the feature, the Constitution of India came into force on 26th January 1950. So, if someone asks that what was the enaction date, the enaction date was basically 26th November 1949 and it came into force on 26th January 1950. So, to understand the preamble, we need to understand that what the constitution actually means. Basically, we can say this, that a constitution is a list of principles that people of a country agree upon as the basis of how they want to be governed. So, almost all the countries in the world have their own constitution, but one of the most important thing to know about our constitution is that it is the biggest constitution on earth. Now, it means that among all the countries, India has the most bulkiest and lengthiest constitution. But when we talk about Nepal, it is the only country that is still in process of rewriting its constitution. Now, earlier Nepal does not have its own constitution. Let's take a closer look towards Nepal. Now, this part of the country shows Nepal, and previously Nepal used to be a monarchy. And so, as per the earlier constitution adopted by Nepal in 1990, so the final authority rested with the king. I hope you all understand what is monarchy. A monarchy is a system or a country which is governed by a king or a queen. So, in Nepal, the people were not happy with the king and they started revolting. Finally, in 2006, the monarchy was abolished and Nepal became a democracy, and to reflect this, the constitution is now being rewritten. Now, as the constitution is being rewritten, just to remove the authority of the king and to put the power in the hands of the people. India too is a democracy, and this fact is included in our constitution as well. So, another important function of the constitution is to define the nature of a country's polity. Now, when we talk about India, and as soon as India gained independence from the Britishers earlier, the Indian national movement had many ideas for free and democratic India. So, they envisioned a set of laws that would determine the functioning of a democratic government. And also, a major portion of our Indian constitution was borrowed from the Government of India Act 1935 and from the other countries also, such as USA, Britain, Canada, Australia, Ireland, etc. Basically, this Government of India Act 1935 we will read later in the next chapters in history. But now, as we are talking about our constitution, so a major part was borrowed from the Government of India Act 1935. And did you know that the constitution was India was decided by a team of 300 people under the chairmanship of Dr. Baba Sahab Bhimrao Ambedkar, also known as the father of the Indian constitution, and it exactly took 2 years, 11 months and 18 days to write and finally came into force on 26th January 1950. Now, the day India celebrate as Republic Day, which one? The 26th January 1950 we have enforced our Constitution of India, and that day we celebrate our Republic Day. So, as we already saw that India too is a democracy and the constitution give equal rights to the people respective of religion, race, caste, gender in place of birth. The rights guaranteed by the constitution also ensures that the leaders don't misuse the powers, as all people have equal rights, and constitution ensures that a majority cannot enforce their views on a minority and so prevents the rights. So, the third function of a constitution is to protect us from ourselves only. Now, what might this sound little confusing, but what it actually means is that it acts as a guideline to ensure that we do not take any rash and hasty decision based on public emotion. So, I hope this is clear to you all. Now, we will learn the important features of Indian Constitution. Till now, we have studied about Indian Constitution, how it works and how the preamble actually works, when it is enforced, when it is enacted, and now the major part of this chapter now comes here, that is the important major features of Indian Constitution. Now, when we talk about the first and all the features, the first feature of the Indian Constitution is federalism. Now, what it actually means? So, by federalism, we mean that more than one level of government exists in India, such as the central government, the state government and the local state government such as Panchayati Raj. That means that we have all three levels of government, that is the center, the state and the local level, means that in our state we are having small villages that also needs a governance. So, for that we have made Panchayati Raj system. The second feature when we talk about is the parliamentary form of government. Now, what it means? Parliamentary form of government is basically that people of India can vote and elect their own representatives to lead the country. Now, what it is actually that we go and vote, every person has the right to vote. So, this is basically then the parliamentary form of government. Now, coming to the third feature of the Constitution of India, which is the separation of powers, which means that as per the Constitution, there are three state organs. These are the legislature, the executive and the judiciary. Now, these particular three parts are being divided into categories. Now, what is this legislature, executive and judiciary does? The legislature refers to the Indian Parliament, which consists of the elected representative. Now, to whom we have voted, they are being elected and being there in the legislature. Now, what does the executive branch do? It is responsible for the running of the government, and the head of this executive branch is president and the prime minister. Now, coming to the third part, that is judiciary, which refers to the system of justice in India, which comprises of the chief justice and the justice in many numbers. So, the separation of powers of the states, that each of these organ exercises different responsibility, and also this organ keeps the other organ in check. Hence, the power is balanced among all the three branches of this constitution, means the separation of powers. Now, coming to the fourth feature of the constitution. When we are talking about the fourth feature, that is basically fundamental rights. So, the fundamental rights provided by the constitution are the right to equality, then right to freedom, right against exploitation, the right to freedom of religion, right to cultural and educational right, and the right to constitutional remedies. So, these are the certain rights that are guaranteed by the fundamental rights. Right to equality give us equal rights and opportunity among everyone. Right to freedom means we can move anywhere, we can say anything, everything is our freedom to do, like whatever we are doing, it's a right to freedom. Now, right against exploitation means that if we are being exploited, we can just have a voice against it, and right to freedom of religion means we can practice any religion. So, these are basic fundamental rights guaranteed under the fundamental rights. Now, the other feature when we talk about of constitution is secularism, which means that no particular religion is being promoted as the state religion. So, these functions of the Indian constitution ensures that India is a great place to live in. So, we have now reached to the end of this chapter. So, I hope you all understood it well. So, I am giving you a list of following questions which you will see at the last of the recap, and after this short and quick recap. So just have a look towards the recap. Here you can say a constitution is a list of principles that the people of a country agree upon as the basis of how they want to be governed. So this is a part of the first definition that we have covered when we were discussing about what is constitution. Now the next thing is a constitution defines the nature of country's political system. Now what actually the constitution decides or defines? It defines the nature of the country's political system, and the constitution protects us from ourselves. So this chapter we have learned that what is constitution and also its purposes, also how the country is being governed, and also it refers to the constitution, the definition and the nature of a country's political system, and the parliamentary form of government, the separation of powers, the federalism. These are all the basic feature of the constitution, and the fundamental rights, the secularism part. Now the questions are here on the screen. All the best, stay home, stay safe.